welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing an Ariens 30-inch Deluxe. I've had it for a couple months now. It's been a great snowblower, so I want to go ahead and go through everything, just all the controls, how it all works, and give you some footage of it actually clearing some snow. I'm not in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, I'm not in Minnesota. We don't get a ton of snow, but there's probably maybe 10-ish around here, 8 to 10. Which isn't too bad. That's probably, I would say, common for most people that are going to use this. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. But before we do, please hit the subscribe button. Go ahead, like, share. So let's see what this thing's about. To get started, the first thing I want to talk about is the two-stage. Now, I assume if you're watching this video, you already know the difference between what is a single stage, two-stage, three-stage, etc. But in the event that you don't, these augers right here, this is what that's called. That would be an auger. These are rotating, they're serrated. It's going to pull the snow back up in here. There's an impeller that's going to spin just like you would a regular fan that you have on your nightstand or your wall, whatever. That's going to be what throws it up out of the chute. The three-stage just has an extra step in there. The Cub Cadet has a three-stage, and I did look into that, but ultimately I decided to go with this. Ariens seems to be one of the most trusted snowblowers out there, and I must say I am glad I went with this model. I'm going to go ahead and show you the shear pins. They are right there. Sorry for the blurriness. I'll back up. It'll focus. There's one on each side. So what those are designed to do is to break in the event that our auger ends up hitting some sort of a rock and just completely stops this. That is designed to break. That way our gear case, none of our gears or anything in there gets damaged. And then the simple part with that is Ariens has been kind enough to put two shear bolts right there. Ariens has been kind enough to do is put this scooper here. It's sitting right on the front, as you can see, and all you do is pop it off. And when you get a jam in your chute, you can, take this, put it down in there. You never want to put your hand down in there, of course. I hate that I have to say it, but I guess in today it seems like we have to go over that part. So, yeah, please do not put your hand down there, especially when it's running. Well, let's go over all the controls on the panel now. So here we have our gear selector. You have reverse, which second, first, that's also reverse. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for forward. Usually when you're snow blowing in any kind of deeper snow, you're going to want to go ahead and use the first setting in forward. 6 is definitely pretty quick. 3 is moving at a decent pace as well. You'll just have to try it out. Now, the faster you go forward, the less efficient the auger and impeller, etc. are going to be at clearing snow. So if you are going in 3 or 4 and it's getting clogged up, don't be too upset at the machine. It's kind of across the board. That's how they all work. And then we have our deflector. This is our deflector switch, and that just moves that right there up and down. Okay, I'm done. Anyways, that moves that up and down, and I should probably put a little bit of lube on there. And then here is our hand warmers. That way's off, that way's on. You can see they're built in pretty nice. There's nothing sticking out on either one. And they do work very well. I have been out here when it's like 5 or 10 degrees and my hands do not get cold so long as I'm holding on to the handle. It does take a while to warm up. In the event that you haven't been holding on to it and your gloves are soaked and you're 10-20 minutes away from the snow blower, then it might take another 10 minutes before you get feeling back in your hands. Right here we have our chute control, and that is just moving right to left. Now I know maybe you're thinking a little inconvenient. It's not up here like the Cub Cadet. I think has maybe some sort of joystick right there. But it's actually not that bad. To set it up in a different way just to show you what I mean and how I go about doing that. So this is going to be your auger control. When it's down, auger's running. just kind of like a lawnmower where you got to pull the handle down. My lawnmower doesn't have an auger, but you get the idea. Once that's down, this is our drive handle. So once we put that down, if you release that drive handle and hold the auger, that will go forward. However, if you hold the drive handle down, release the auger, you could see the auger is still engaged. So what it's doing is allowing us one-handed operation, which when that happens, now I can go ahead and move this as I'm walking. I don't have to stop and release both. I can just simply do that. Change this. I can change the deflector. I don't change the gear while I'm running. If I am going to change the speed, I do release that. I don't know if you should or shouldn't. I'm probably not the best at reading manuals, but I'm sure you guys might want to read it. That way you know for sure. But this has been a really nice feature, and that has not disappointed me once I got used to the hang of it. So I thought it would, but it's been great. Here you got your light right here. Now there is no switch to turn it on and off. It's just when the snowblower's on, the light is on. And it does actually work pretty well at night. I tend to be out here more in the dark than I do during the daylight. So that light is a bit of a blessing, I would say. This view isn't going to help you out with too much. You can see the linkage there and how all of them go in there. But the reason that I focused on this is that Ariens has something called an auto turn. So what that means is once you start turning, it senses it, and it's going to release one of the wheels, and it's going to take the power away from that wheel, but maintain the outside wheel's power. So it's actually like a power steering function. And again, that's something I wasn't too sure about, but once I started using it and I got 10 minutes in, a very nice feature. It takes minimal effort. All you have to do is rotate with it, and it basically does it itself. It's amazing. So this brings us to the motor. It's obviously Ariens AX306cc, and it's got the 15 foot-pounds of gross torque. It is most likely just built in the same shop as many other motors. I haven't looked into it too much. I believe that's kind of the gist of what I was reading. But it's been a good motor so far. I haven't had any issues with it. And I'll show you here when you want to go ahead and start this thing. You got a key right here. You're just going to push in a little bit. Turn, that's going to be in the on position. We have fuel. This is on. This is going to be off. So we'll go ahead and put it back on. And then this right here, without reading the manual, it was a little confusing, but not too bad, mainly because they were stiff when I first got it. But right here is going to be our choke selector. So there's like 4 spots, I believe. So right now, even though it's not lined up with the choke, it is full choke. And then 1, 2, 3, I guess maybe it's 3, 4, 8. And then now we're in the complete run position. So usually where I'm at, it's not too bad, just there for a second, and then I can pretty much go all the way back. Now here's our throttle control. This, you can see the standard turtle and rabbit. So that's all the way down, that's all the way up. I noticed this thing really doesn't do a whole lot. The majority, like this whole spot here, is basically full throttle, and then it's just this little spot here that ends up changing the idle speed. And you got the primer. So when you do want to start from, say it's been a day, what I do is I turn that on, turn my choke all the way on, speed all the way up, and then it says to hit it 3 times max. I don't know, I just hit it a handful of times, and usually I can get that pull starter and get it going within the second pull typically. I did bring a power cord out here to try the electric start because I haven't done so yet. So let's go ahead and we're going to see how that does in a second. Before we go ahead and get it fired up, let's just talk a second about this stuff. If you see people say, well, I spray something on the auger, the impeller, the inside, that says that the snow doesn't get stuck to it. Well, that's what this is. This is like a non-stick polymer, and all you do is you spray it inside of here, and you don't have to do it every time. As you can see, I do have some snow on the auger still. That's from being out there a couple days ago. But this does sit in a non-heated garage, and you can see that most of it is all gone. There's nothing there. It's not sticking, and it's worked pretty well. You don't have to use the Ariens brand. You could use whatever you want as long as it does the same thing. There's plenty of those options on the internet. Just take a look around via Google, and I'm sure you'll come up with a solution that you could get at pretty much any store. I don't think it really needs it. It's supposed to be kind of dry and clean, but that's all right. I'll just quick show you. You just kind of spray it around. I'm not going to get too thorough with it, but good enough. When you are doing it for the first time, maybe you want to be a bit more thorough than that. Personally, I don't think I needed to do it right then, as I did it this last week before the snowstorm came. And before we get it started, I guess we're gonna need to plug it in. So on the side here, you can see the pull start right there. Over here is where our electric start's gonna be. Now, just gotta take that end of the extension cord, plug it in. Let's go ahead and turn that on. Let's go ahead and choke. I don't know, maybe I gotta pump it still. Okay, here's the button. I must say that thing started really quick. I don't know, maybe I'll use that function a little more often. Personally, I'm like 35 years old, so it's not too bad. I'm not in terrible shape, so using the pull starter hasn't been that big of a deal, and I don't have to deal with getting the power cord, but I can definitely see the benefit of having that power cord hooked up and using that electric start for some people, or just maybe it depends on the conditions as well. So yeah, I must say I'm surprised that it worked that easy. So let's move on to moving some of this snow then. So while I'm down here towards the end of the driveway, I got to turn around and go back. Thought maybe it'd be a good idea to try and get some video showing you the auto turn feature. So I'm gonna have to start it. I'm gonna have to try and carry the camera in one hand, and then I will steer with the left hand. And I guess that'll be a true test to show you how easy it is. I'll try and see if I can get some measurements showing you how far the snow is actually going, and I'll show you what kind of snow it is. figure this will be the perfect spot to try and get a test of how far the snow is going to go. You can see it hasn't been touched. We've had the storm. It's been snowing 3-4 days now. And I got to get that trailer out of there so I can put a new axle on. So I have to go this way anyway. So let's kill two birds with one stone. Sorry if it seems like I'm out of breath. COVID took it out of me a few weeks ago. So still trying to get that back. Yeah, let's go ahead and try and see how far this thing will throw some snow. Go from there. As I'm heading out, before I forget, what kind of snow is this? So some of this is a little bit harder at the bottom. We initially had a real wet snow, and then our temps dropped because I believe it started snowing around 32 to 34 degrees. So you can see I can make a little bit of a snowball out of that bottom snow. Now this top snow, forget it. It's just light, fluffy snow. It looks like about, I would say 4 or 5-ish inches at the bottom. I guess maybe I was a little too optimistic on the 10 inches when I said that in the beginning of the video, but yeah, overall it does a pretty good job. But let's go ahead and get that measurement. Let's go see how far away. So right here is the maximum that it's gone, and I am at 45 feet even. So that's pretty impressive. I initially thought I read online that it was up to 50 feet, thinking like, yeah, right, 50 feet, I doubt that, but 45 is close enough for me. So two more things that I want to mention before I end this video is one, there's actually on the side of this, you have like some skid plates. I'm not sure the exact terminology for it, but anyways, if you live on, like you have a gravel driveway, you're gonna wanna lower those down before you start snow blowing. I'm sure, again, if you read the manual, when you get it, it'll explain what those are and how to move them. You just want them even, and all that does is raises the front of this up just a little bit. That way you're not, running over rocks and augering those and chipping all your auger and your impeller up and your chute. So the nice thing about the Ariens is that it is all metal, so that is a plus. There's no plastic that's involved that can, possibly break or weather damage. Eventually, I imagine some of this stuff will rust out like your lawnmower will that's 30 years old and the deck's gone, but so far, so good. And the tires, I ran into a couple incidents where I could have maybe used chains, but for the most part, the tires that come on this are very nice. They get plenty of traction. I really can't ask for much more out of a tire for a snowblower. So, and I'm going uphill and downhill, and it's not all even here. So I don't have any cement that I'm snow blowing, and As you saw earlier, a couple shipping containers. I got to go down that hill, and yeah, it's worked out great. And now I want to thank you for watching this video. Hopefully it helped you. Again, like I said in the beginning, maybe you could hit that subscribe button and hit the like button. That would really help us out. The more subscribers, likes we get, etc., the more we can do videos. We both work full time. It's just hard to find time to do so. So yeah, that would really help us out. And yeah, if you want my recommendation on this, it would be go buy it. It's very nice, and I'm more than pleased with it. I know I mentioned the Cub Cadet earlier. I have nothing against it. I haven't used it. I just ended up with this model, and I can't ask for much more. So thanks for watching, guys.